Hey guys, what is up? So in this video, I'm going to be going over Starbucks and, a couple of major news articles that just came out about it. For those of you that have been following the channel, I am a Starbucks shareholder, and, this news I'm pretty excited to hear about. I know that some of you are Starbucks shareholders, and some of you, are kind of on the fence about it. And now with the news that just came out today with Bill Ackman, it's actually really, really important, for the next 5+ years with Starbucks. So it's going to be very interesting to see, kind of how that plays out. And I'm going to touch upon, what the chart's doing, a couple of updates, with a couple of other stocks, and a quick update to the channel's portfolio. For those of you that are new, my name is Dan, and this is Millennial Investing. I just kind of go over videos about stocks I'm looking at, companies I'm looking at, just different financial topics that are going on and what I think are going to be important, or different ways to either make money or not lose money. So if you guys are interested in any of that, make sure to stick around, like and subscribe, and let's get in the video. So for those of you that were paying attention today, Bill Ackman revealed his $900 million stake in Starbucks. So for those of you that don't know, Bill Ackman is a big hedge fund manager. His personal net worth is a little bit over $1 billion, and the fund he manages is what is it? Yeah, so the Square had $8.3 billion under assets last year, and it was up 15.8%. So it did lag the market, but you have to understand that being a manager with with this kind of money, picking individual stocks is crazy, especially when Bill Ackman is generally an active investor. And by active, I don't mean like he's constantly going in and out of positions. I mean, he is normally, when he takes a position in the company, he will say buy close to 10% or so of the company, and then will make sure that the board does what he wants, because he becomes one of the majority shareholders, and he kind of dictates what direction the company is going to be going in. So it's going to be really interesting to see. He doesn't do that with every stock that he's invested in, but companies like, say, Wendy's and Chipotle, he's had an active role in kind of guiding the companies through tough times. And, his investments are either like really big winners or big busts. So it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out with Starbucks, how he is with Kevin, and just really what direction, he wants to take Starbucks in. But it is interesting. So he actually started accumulating shares very recently. So he started to buy, back in the last major dip. I kind of talked about it earlier, about how that was one of the major buying points for myself personally. And he says that his average cost on Starbucks shares is at 51 a share. So he believes that, Starbucks has the ability to double in a few years. And that is, when you look at the numbers, Starbucks was a growth behemoth. It was growing at, 20+% for years. And then this past year and a half, it's really slowed down. A lot of that's because of, CEO shifting, corporate structures. They rapidly expanded in China, and we all know that that didn't really take off as quickly as they anticipated. But Ackman, and myself included, still view China as a huge growth potential, over the next 10 years. Obviously, the trade war is not helping, but, if you look at China and you look at, over 1 billion people with the fastest growing middle class in the world, chances are their GDP is going to continue to rise at a pretty fast pace. And generally when the GDP goes up, Starbucks is able to sell more coffee. They did also just do a partnership with Alibaba not too long ago that they announced, which is great, because that's allowing them to help penetrate even more into the Chinese market, because now people, in extremely dense cities, people are going to be able to, just go to their Starbucks like normal, being below the majority of big office buildings. But now, even when you're outside of the city, you can get Starbucks delivered to you through Alibaba's, food delivery system. And it'll be really interesting to see how that goes. And it might give, Starbucks some resilience to any negative connotation towards American companies because of this trade war. So it'll be really interesting to see how that plays out with Starbucks. And there are a lot of really interesting things going on with China directly involving Starbucks. So Ackman, is calling for a possible doubling of the stock in just a few years. And, some people might say that that's completely outlandish, but it does actually make sense, because if you look at, like, say, the in-store growth, You know, this past year it was very laggish. I think it was about 2 to 3%, same store sales growth, and it just didn't really wow anybody. You know, they closed a bunch of stores this past year, about 3 times their average, mainly because they weren't, you know, they weren't meeting their demands. They weren't as nearly as popular or as profitable as Starbucks thought they were going to be, and Starbucks opened up more stores and then closed them, and apparently that added to the selling, you know, a couple months ago. So it's pretty interesting to see, you know, just kind of how volatile Starbucks is with the market, and little things that realistically don't matter that come out about Starbucks. You know, some people say that Starbucks' coffee is overpriced. You know, I'll say I personally do drink Starbucks coffee, so I'm a little biased on it. But I drink Starbucks' coffee. I'm not really into the Frappuccinos or the Macchiatos or anything like that. You know, I just generally get, you know, a medium or a grande, whatever you want to call it, a pike or a regular coffee with what they sell. I get that. It's within, I think, 10 cents of Dunkin' Donuts, which, so I live in Massachusetts, and Dunkin' Donuts is seen as the cheap alternative to Starbucks. And realistically, if you're just getting coffee, and like, as I imagine the majority of people like say that, oh, we'll be going to Starbucks day in and day out, whether there's a recession or not, those people are going to be getting coffee. And I personally do prefer Starbucks' hot coffee enough to where I'd pay, you know, 10, 12 cents more to get it from Starbucks than I do going to Dunkin' Donuts. Starbucks is also a lot faster at getting, you know, getting your cup. Like if I'm in a rush, you know, stopping in a Dunkin' Donuts could take me like 10 minutes. Stopping in a Starbucks maybe takes me 3 minutes. You know, so it's, especially because I can do, you know, the cream and sugar myself. I definitely do like the flow of the Starbucks company more. And all of this is just kind of my personal connotations towards Starbucks. So like nothing is really, you know, I guess substance right now. But, you know, this is just kind of one of the reasons why I started buying Starbucks. And I do honestly think that Starbucks will be growing into the future. I do think that they have one of the strongest brands in the world. And I think that they are, like I said in an earlier video, they are pretty much, if you take Apple and Coca-Cola and you have a baby, you pretty much have the, you know, the beverage that is seen as a symbol of status, while at the same time being very efficient and tasty. So I definitely think it's as if you have those two brands together, and then you have Starbucks. Obviously, I don't like Apple. I know some people don't like Coca-Cola. I know some people love Coca-Cola, and I know some people love Apple. Same thing with Starbucks. It's one of those brands that becomes so iconic that it immediately makes a divide, and everybody is extremely against or for those brands. And those brands are the ones that even if you hate them, you know that they're never going away. So those are the kind of companies that, especially for the long term, on a non-tech-based related company, you know, just looking at that brand value that they're offering to people, that is one of my favorite types of companies to invest in. And so going back to the ability that it can double is, so it's same store sales growth, you know, was relatively flat. But when you look at their sales and their profitability in, say, their Asian stores as opposed to their stores here in America, stores here in America are obviously flatlined. You know, they're pretty much teeming with business and they're pumping up money like no tomorrow. But the majority of stores in, say, China are less than, not, I don't even think they're half or even 70% as profitable as the ones in America. And with the amount of stores that they just opened up, assuming those can hit, you know, 80+% profitability in comparison to the ones that are here in America, Starbucks will start getting mountains of cash. So I definitely do agree that Starbucks has the ability to, because of its major bet on China, has definitely the ability to either double or triple the company over the next 10 years. You know, what happens in this business cycle right now, your guess is as good as mine. Like, obviously, you know, things could go horrible. We could continue with this trade war. We could start, you know, either a war, we could have a recession. You know, everything could always go wrong, and everything, you know, always does go wrong, and then everything always gets better. And at least that's what we've learned from Warren Buffett. So I do definitely still like Starbucks for the long term, and with Ackman coming on board, especially for the shareholder interest, it's definitely a good sign, and it'll be really interesting to see how it goes. In other news, they did also just announce their new CFO. This guy is named Patrick Reismer. Hope I said that right. So this guy has been the CFO of what is it? Hyatt Hotels and Yum Brands and the Walt Disney Corporation. So this guy is obviously extremely seasoned. He knows consumer trends. He knows how to manage a multi-billion-dollar company. And, you know, adding him to the team, and he seems pretty ecstatic to be on the team. He's actually leaving his current job at Hyatt to come to Starbucks. It's really exciting to have him on board. The CFO of Starbucks is now currently leaving. I believe that they're retiring. And having him step in is also great. It's really strengthening their management team. And not to mention that when he was in charge of Hyatt, from when he stepped in to when he left, the stock price did extremely well. When before he came in, the stock price wasn't doing much. So he's definitely, you know, whether you think he's an all-star or not, he's not bad, and he's definitely focused on shareholder value. So that's definitely a really, you know, interesting thing to think about, and something that makes me feel, you know, a little bit better, you know, about everything going forward. I do think that the majority of, you know, the Starbucks' issues right now aren't necessarily financial. They're more so like visionary and, you know, how into everything that Starbucks is getting into. But I do think that, you know, the millennials, that will become the biggest buying power in the next 10 years, and then iGen, the one below them. I think everybody in those two generations either loves Starbucks or likes what Starbucks does as a company. So I do definitely think that Starbucks is here to stay, and it is going to be interesting to see how it plays out over the next couple of years. Oh, just a quick thing. I'll get more into it later. I did add some more Facebook today. Added it at 158.65. Just doing the quick update. Still down in that position. I'll go into that later. Something I did want to talk about, though, is Starbucks kind of doing exactly what I was talking about with that trade. So you see how they were kind of resting on this 20-day moving average, and then they popped. And so this is on the daily chart. You saw they retreated right to here, they consolidated, and they popped, and then coincidentally, they had this massive spike, and this was mainly because of Ackman coming on board. And then it quickly retraced back down right to, or, you know, within a couple of points of that resistant line that I had put in that was pretty much predominant over the past couple of years with Starbucks. You know, and I didn't tamper with the graph. This is exactly what the graph was in my other video about a week ago. Or whatever it was, whatever my last video was. This is the same chart, and it's really interesting to see how Starbucks is reacting as, I guess, blatantly obvious as it is. So it'll be really interesting. I'm waiting to see. I was going to add Starbucks into the channel portfolio. I did not, mainly because I was waiting to see how this played out, and then Ackman came out today, and then the stock went up a lot, and I was thinking about, like, oh, maybe I should add into it now that everybody will, you know, be looking at Starbucks again. But I'm not doing that. I'm going to wait for, you know, this movement to consolidate, because, like, obviously, as you can see here, a lot of this is hype. A lot of that sell-off, you know, people immediately got out. Or people got in here, like I did, and we're looking to get out. So it'll be interesting. So that's kind of just the wrap-up with Starbucks. I'm, you know, pretty bullish on Starbucks. I do think their next quarter is going to be kind of lackluster. That's mainly because I do think that, you know, Starbucks has not been Starbucks has been still focused a lot on expanding and a lot on, you know, refining than it has been about generating EPS. So I'm not too thrilled, or I'm not too excited, I would say, about what the earnings are going to be. It could, you know, lead to a chance to buy, but, you know, with Ackman, you know, supporting it, investors just might not care anymore, and they might just go full straight through it, and even if it's mediocre earnings, it might just continue to go up. Or it could be completely wrong, you know, and it's amazing, who knows. But at least for the channels portfolio, I'm definitely not going to be adding in until, you know, either there's major consolidation here, or until after the earnings, so I get a better, you know, projection on what's going to be happening over the next few months. But I am definitely long Starbucks, and I will definitely eventually add it into the channels portfolio like it is in my current portfolio. For people that have it in the current portfolio, the dividend increases are extremely nice, and I imagine with Ackman that they're going to be continuing to go. It'll be interesting if we can get another 1 or 2 20% dividend increases in a year. You know, that'll be really interesting. So I hope you guys thought that that was pretty, insightful, or, it's just easy to catch up with Starbucks if you weren't following it that closely. If you guys want me to do a full detailed, Starbucks video, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you guys, have any stocks you want me to go over, if you like this format, please let me know, because making a video through my webcam is much easier for me, but I know that some people prefer the whiteboard, and I'll definitely go back to doing that. This is just extremely convenient for me to kind of show you the very jumbled mess that is my head with showing you on my screen. So I hope you guys liked the video. Oh yeah, and just a quick thing, again, didn't do anything with the portfolio really, just added a couple of Facebook shares. I'll keep you updated whenever I added anything else. But it was realistically just doubling my Facebook position. The share price was pretty much flat, so not much is going on there. Oh, just a quick AMD update. AMD doing exactly what I was thinking about. Just kind of consolidating right around that 50-day moving average. It'll be really interesting to see if it finds a base there, or if it just goes sporadic and bounces right back up to hits this resistance point. I haven't done any trade with it yet. Still waiting for more of a confirmation before I do any options or trade it or whatever I do with it. So yeah, just wanted to do a quick update with AMD, because I know most of you go to my channel for AMD and MU. But hey, Starbucks is pretty important too. So that's it. Hope you guys liked the video. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comment section below. If you guys haven't, please like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. I do need feedback. I will work and do as much coverage as you guys want. You just got to point me in the direction of what you want me to cover it and how you want me to do it. So, anything, whether I suck or whether I'm doing a good job, let me know in the comment section down below. And I hope you guys liked the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.